Hello, my name is Sandra Beaulieu. I'm a creative equestrian that blends my passion for dressage, art, and musical freestyle. I love to inspire and help others to have more fun with their horses. My equestrian journey began when I was 7 years old. I was on a field trip with our daycare and they took us to a local barn. I remember seeing a horse canter by me and I was so mesmerized. My mom had to call the daycare to see where we went that day because I just kept saying, I have to go back. I have to go back. I started with Western riding lessons and then graduated to English, jumping, and pony club. Dressage was my favorite and I thought that I wanted to ride in the Olympics someday. I trained really hard all through my teens and 20s, learning dressage through the upper levels and showing and becoming a dressage judge. I was really hyper-focused and did nothing but horses. Throughout my journey, I also loved art and drawing horses and eventually painting with acrylics. I love the feel of the paint and how to stay in the flow. I gravitated towards abstract art with a lot of color and movement. I've always loved all the horses that I rode, but partnership took on a different meaning when I bought my very first horse, Dow. I was 30 years old, and this was the first horse that was actually mine. He was considered dangerous to ride, and I was just recuperating from a horrible fall that made me reconsider my goals in life. I no longer wanted to ride in the Olympics. I realized that my true passion was actually being creative and performing with horses instead. Dow was the first Frisian I'd ever ridden, and he was pretty angry and certainly not impressed with this giddy little girl who wanted to spend all her time with him. It took years to develop a true partnership with him because he was so withdrawn. He inspired me to learn trick training, and that opened up a completely new avenue of communication for us. Everyone thought Dow was hard-headed and dumb, but in reality, he was actually the most intelligent horse I'd ever met. It just took me a long time to figure out how to connect with him. He was the first horse I rode bridleless and learned how to do liberty work with. I didn't have anyone to learn from, and there were no online courses at this point, so we just had fun learning together. He had an incredible sense of humor and loved to make people laugh. His unique wiggling lip trick made everyone smile. As he grew older, he developed ring bone and eventually was too lame to perform anymore. So I started teaching him how to paint as a way to spend more time together. He was so smart and loved to hog all the attention for himself. We had just figured out how to paint on a really large stationary easel when he passed away from a ruptured spleen. I had a solid decade with Dow, and it took a few years to recover from the heartache of losing him, but thankfully at the same time, I also have Rovandio. He's a very special horse that I've known since the day he was born. He was given to me later in life, and we embarked on a different journey together. I believe that each horse has their own unique personality and special talents to uncover, and Rovi is more of like an old soul. He's really intelligent and more studious than Dow was. He's half Lipizzaner and loves to perform, and his ability to focus 100% in front of an audience is really very special. One day I was inspired with a thought and wondered if I could combine my passion for dressage and art together. And it took a few years to actually give it a try, but 10 years later, Rovi and I have performed our art on horseback demo in front of thousands of people. We used dressage movements like piaffe, rein back, collected canter, flying changes, and lateral work to land the brush strokes. All those years of drawing and painting prepared me for this role. Rovi made it possible because he likes to become an extension of my body, not a horse I need to micromanage. He would let me focus on the art and stay in flow. So I think it's pretty magical what we've created. Now that Rovi's later in his years, he's slowed down on the riding, but he's becoming quite the artist himself, and his style is more expressive and calculated than Dow. So I've been able to kind of challenge myself to expand with him. I'm also developing a partnership with Nico the Frisian. He's owned by fellow equine mastery photographer Susan McLafferty, so when you can watch her interview, you'll understand why this is a perfect collaboration. The three of us are having so much fun discovering a new path together, and Nico has his own character, much different than Dow and different than Rovandio. So I'm pretty excited to see how this journey unfolds. I think my greatest challenge overall has been staying true to myself when others have had so many opinions on how things should be done. I doubted myself so many times, especially trying new things that had never been done before. My horse's happiness is my #1 priority, so it warms my heart when non-horse people can really tell that my horse loves his life. Bringing joy to others fills my soul. Thank you to Equine Mastery for bringing our stories to a wider audience. I feel a connection to everyone on this page because of their love and appreciation for horses.